Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Late in the Day Questions and Answers. So, out at the woodworking, metalworking hobby club that I belong to, like I told you, we bounce around between Lowe's, Home Depot, Harbor Freight, sometimes Ace, and then we all get together, do like a show and tell projects, this, that, the other. And the topic came up, which I thought was interesting. So, I took some notes on this. We were talking about making tool handles. Now, you remember in a past video, I made this tool handle. It's made out of oak, and I have some oak laying around, and I'll explain that in a minute. And I made this on the lathe, on the handle. I made it the way I liked it, the length I liked it, sanded it real well, and then I turned around. I have a 50-50 mixture of boiled linseed oil, mineral spirits. I coated this a bunch of times and wiped it off, let it absorb what it wanted. One final coat on there, let it dry real well. You either leave it alone because you can easily, refresh this anytime you thought you wanted to, or you can put a coat of wax on there and take it off. This one's got a coat of wax, and I like it. So I need to make a couple more of these. And somebody said, it gets expensive, and you're buying, the specialty wood, and you got to search around for the ferrules, and I said, you're making this a lot more complicated than it needs to be. And I'm going to tell you what I do and how I do it and show you some video of me actually making one on the lathe. So this morning, I went and I stopped at Home Depot and I picked up two of these ferrules right here. Now I'm going to cut each one in half, and I picked up two of these. So I'll end up with 4 ferrules, and these are 3/4 inch. Now I got one laying around here somewhere that's 1 inch, but I don't really need that right now unless I'm going to do some big heavy duty handle tool. And out at the club, the one guy out there, he makes, for fun, he makes his own handles for some of his kitchenware, his knives and so forth. He just has fun making them, and that's a good idea. For me, I'm going to use it for out in the shop. Now, you can use this and make this for chisels or whatever you want. In my case, it's going to be for lathe turning tools. Now, what I did, you can use a hacksaw and put it in a vise, or a number of ways to cut it. I have a pipe cutter. I think I picked it up at a garage sale for like 50 cents or something. It was thrown in a box. It was dirty. I cleaned it up, oiled it, got it working smoothly again. So I put it in the vise, and I'll show you a close-up picture here. And I cut this one rather, in half. Okay, so that's that on the ferrules. Now, for the handles, oak is a good hardwood, and there's a lot of oak dowels out there for closets and so forth, and they have 1 inch and whatever. Okay, so the 1 inch, I had some extra lying around here at home. So I'm going to figure out in a second how much. Here's the standard ones, okay, like this. And what I don't like about these is this one doesn't have a turning tool on it. It's got this nice little bulb up here. Okay, that's fine. And a little bulb back here. Okay, that's fine. It narrows right here in the middle, and this is usually where I'm gripping it. And it just feels too small for me. So I like to make my own, and I fatten these up to where I've got where I feel is a comfortable grip on them. And this one is short. I like mine a little bit longer. And you can do this to your own liking. Make it as long as you want, as short as you want, the decorations that you want. Put a couple little cuts in these like this does, and play around and have some fun, or just turn it to your liking and call it done. I'm going to make one. I'm going to pan over to the lathe. Let's get it set up, and I'm going to show you how I do it and how I make them. Now, the first thing before I pan over is to figure out, okay, how long do I want this? Now, I'm going to make a smaller kind of skew chisel that I will use on my lathe turnings. So if I measured this and I want to get, what I can out of it, of course, this is 34 inches. So I'm going to cut this around 15 inches. I mean, that gives me a decent handle here. I might go to 16 or 17. I'll let you know when I get over to the lathe, but this gives me a rough idea, you know, when you're gripping it, I mean, how you want it, as opposed to this one. I'm going to cut this. I'll meet you over at the lathe and let's get it chucked up and we'll go from there. Okay, so I put my spur drive on there. You'll see that up here at the top. Brought my tailstock in center here as best I could. I eyeballed this. And you'll see it's a little out of being perfect. Not much. I just kept playing around with it till I got it real close. I tightened my tailstock up real well. And I'm going to shape this perfectly kind of round. And then we'll drill the hole and mount the ferrule. All right, that's rough done. Real rough. Splintered like crazy. Like I said, I could put mineral spirits on here. And we'll try it again. No, yeah, that got it a lot cleaner, not so rough now. So we'll do that back here real quick and start to worry about the ferrule. So I'm gonna do this. So I know that this end is nice and square. It's the factory end. So right here. Double check it. Yep, that'll come out fine. All right, so we need to get it down to the size that we need. Now, I've got this, I call it a Badan. It just has a beveled edge here, and it's sharp right here. Oh, and just take a little off each time. A little too aggressive, it'll be too short. Oh boy, it's almost going right around it. That's perfect. So I know I got to go that far down. So right now, before I do that, because I'll include this in the shaping, I'm going to move this back and I'll put a Jacob's chuck in there to drill a hole. Take my calipers. And yeah, that should work. All right, I got the drill bit, Jacob's chuck, the tailstock, and I know where I'm going to drill. This is the center because it's got a hole right there. Okay, and on the other side, I know how to mount it back to the spur drive because it's got the two cut lines. All right, put a little pressure on there. Now, I know that I have to go a certain depth. So if I know that the ferrule is going to sit from here to here, and I want that to get about as flush as I can, I need to come to there. That'll make it sit flush. So I know that depth. It's 2 inches. So my drill bit here out 2 inches. I get my permanent marker. And that's 2 inches. So I know when I get to here, I might go just about a 16th, maybe an 8th more.
just to be on the safe side. Let's go ahead and start drilling. All right, I'm on that black line. Now, just for the heck of it, I'm going to go that extra 1/8 of an inch deeper. So I took it off again, the hole's drilled, and I want to see about the ferrule. Oh yeah. Yeah, snug fit. If not, it's okay. We can put epoxy around this later and set the ferrule. I'll show you that later. But right now, let's get it back on and let's put some design to it and sand it up. Okay, now you don't want to over tighten the tailstock. You want it good and snug. And the spur drive here has it on this end. So grab it, play around, make sure it's nice and tight. I'm going to go back to using this Bedan tool. I'm going to guesstimate. About this much of it tends to be thick. Then it narrows down, and it might become thick again down here, which I don't really care about. I might make it a little bit thick here, and then we'll shape it. I want to put that ferrule back on. Okay, now the reason why I put that ferrule back on is I want to shape this to here and come back like that. And just a hair, and it'll be almost touching that copper sleeve, so we'll put a little more in it. Yeah, you can see on there where it comes down and it meets the copper. So we know that we're good here. We'll shape this now and move down the line. This is a little thicker right through here, and then it kind of narrows out. I can bring this, taper this a little bit, because my hand won't be up here, it'll be back here. I think that's good. I'm going to take off the tool rest, put away some tools. And now we can start sanding. Now this still got quite a bit of tear off, so I'm going to start at 80 grit. If you need to start at 60, start at 60, wherever you think. Nobody's going to care. Now I'll be back with you in a few minutes. There's no sense in watching me sand. So I'm going to do 80, then I'll go to 100, 120. I'll go to 150, and I may or may not go to 220, but when I get to that last grit, I'll come back. Okay, so we're up to 220. I stopped it, sanded with the grain. You didn't have to do that. It's not a beauty contest, it's a tool handle, but it's just habit. And now I'm at a point where I've cleaned it all off, and I'm going to put my finish on there. So what am I going to use? Well, what I start off using is boiled linseed oil and mineral spirits. It's about a 50-50 mixture. Now I put enough on, and I want to keep this wet for a little bit. Just like this. I want it to soak in as much as it wants to. Try not to get too much up in here because we're going to use some epoxy to set that ferrule. So I only come up close to it as I can. Now, if you want, yourself an old cloth of some kind, and you can just go around it like this. And just let it keep soaking in as much as it wants. You can do this off the lathe also, which is what I'm going to do as soon as I wipe this down, because I want to move the project along to be able to show you the rest of the tips and stuff that, I incorporate. Now, it's not totally dry, but like I said, I can apply more off of the lathe. So I am going to call the end of the tool right here, show you what we're going to do. This is still snug. This has got a couple of splits, so we're going to be careful here. And I'm standing over to the left here out of the line of fire. If this should break loose and come flying up, you won't get hit. So try to always stay, well, out of the line of fire. I think another YouTuber, Robo Hippie, that's what he calls it. Okay, I don't want it to snap off on me or break, so I'm going to stop it a little prematurely. And then I'm going to take a saw and I'm going to cut it right there. Anyway, take it off and I'm going to go over to my sander. You can use a hand drill that's got a sanding, pad on it, or you could take a chisel and just cut this off and then just put linseed oil and call it done. But I'll be right back. Okay, so I just went over to the sander and I just sanded that flat. Now I'm going to put a little bit of that linseed oil on the bottom. Makes everything uniform. Okay, so we got our ferrule, we got our nice little tool handle here, all done very inexpensively. And now I want to put the ferrule on there and put the tool in it. So let me get everything. And the tool itself goes in there and it's real snug. So, but I'm still going to put some epoxy on it. I got some of my Harbor Freight 2-part. Now, not all epoxies are the same. Okay, I use on projects that are important JB Weld. That's an incredible epoxy, and I will always buy JB Weld. It's fantastic stuff. This stuff, not that great, and if you look at the container, it's only filled about halfway, so I kind of got, less than what I thought I was getting, but look, that's the way it goes. I'm going to squirt some of this out, and let's use it. And it's my little trash pile. So I'm going to go ahead, let's put that ferrule on there. I got some rags over here. Take off the excess epoxy. Take the tool. Now, a trick. Sounds counterintuitive. If you turn this over and then smack the back of this, it'll set it too. Okay, there you have it. We're just going to let this sit for 24 hours. Let it set up. And then you'll have, well, a completed tool. Give you a still picture here, and then that's it for today's video. And I'll put another coat of that 50% mineral spirits BLO on here, and I'll let it soak in again. And when it's dry, after 2 or 3 coats, so I'm not in a rush here because I'm going to let this sit for 24 hours. I let it sit for a couple of days, and then I'll put a coat of some kind of paste wax on there. You don't have to do that. I like making the tools this way and using the boiled linseed oil, mineral spirits, because it's easy to maintain. If I want to in the months to come, all I have to do is just put another coat on here and wipe it off. These are tool handles, not a beauty contest, but I'll tell you what, making your old tool handles, it's a lot of fun. Whether you're doing knives or you're doing chisels or whatever you're doing to put handles, you can make them to your own liking. Like I said, I got rid of that thing in the middle because that's never where my hand is, so I'm able to grip it back here and here where it's a little bit thicker. And I think this is just for decoration. I actually could have just left this one straight piece, like I did on some of the other tools. But okay, my cats, my stray cats. Click the links below if you will, and give me a thumbs up. I hope you click subscribe. Stray cats appreciate it. I've got 4 of them now. They're feral. They live outside. People abandon them, but they've got food, they've got water. What little bit of I make off of, YouTube, I buy the feeders, the food, and take care of them. And I leave my garage door cracked, so at night they got a place to come in and sleep on an old blanket. And I don't know, they're my buddies. Anyway, I'll see you folks on the next